Welcome back to Sex Talk, where we talk candidly and without judgment about issues of sexuality, sexual health, and everything in between. And of course, relationships, because that's where we're having the sex. And tonight, we're specifically talking about a very, very hot topic, which I'm sure you'll all be able to relate to. And that is love, lust, and lies. Yes, I said it, lies. We went out into the streets to find out what the people of Cape Town think about this particular issue, and this is what they said.
I think love is a more deep feeling of care, and lust is a more sexualized rush.
Well, love is something that's going to make lust far more fun.
Lust is everything but your heart.
Lust, I would say, is more fleeting, as usually in the beginning parts of when you meet somebody, and love is hopefully what remains when the lust has faded away.
If you love someone, it's more of a commitment, not just physical but emotional as well.
People are confused with the two.
I haven't met one man that never lies about sex.
They would say that they love you, whereas they don't. They just want to get onto your pants.
I probably would have lied about, my enjoyment. Sometimes it's not as good as other times.
I wanted men to make a baby, so I'm gonna lie.
I'm told they like faking it when it comes to sex.
I was very honest with my lying that, no, I didn't have sex with no one, not yet. I haven't found anyone.
Sometimes you have to tell a white lie, as in you don't want to hurt someone.
I lie about what I like, because guys don't know how to go down on a woman.
Why must I lie about sex?
Joining me on the show this evening, we've got Africa Melane, radio show host. Welcome back, Africa.
Thank you very much.
And of course, the gorgeous Ms. Is it Mrs. or Ms.?
I prefer Ms. LaRue.
Ms. LaRue. Marlene LaRue, who's an activist and a performer. And on my right, I have another performer. The last time you were here, you were not even a mother yet.
I was with child.
You were with child.
That sounds lovely.
And now the child has arrived. Congratulations. Welcome.
Thank
of course, she needs no introduction. This is musician Zolani Mahola. And a very new guest in studio joining us today. I'd say the Fundi of sorts. This is Dr. Michael Skriker, and he is an MD, but most importantly, he specializes in sexual health, essentially. So everybody, welcome to the show. Love, lust, and lies. Lies. Africa, be honest.
Yes.
And the name of the show is Sex Talk, so I'm not talking about when you lied to your grandmother about something, about throwing the money away or eating too much popcorn. But when it comes to sex, when do you lie about sex?
Just before you're about to get lucky, you have to lie, particularly the first time around. You have to make promises of all things.
Like about what?
Well, it depends on what the other person is looking for. Are they looking for somebody who's going to, adore them for the rest of their life? And then, of course, you promise that, even though you know that your intention is to ejaculate and then leave afterwards. I'm talking generally.
It's the proverbial you.
I could never be guilty of such a thing.
That's what I thought too.
I was like, damn.
But we do. And I think sometimes you don't even realize that you're lying at that time because you're trying to, I suppose, achieve an objective, and the objective is X, and therefore you will do and say whatever is required to get that X. And then once X has been achieved and you're ready now to move on to Y, you sort of conveniently forget the promises that you'd made to achieve X.
Marlene, I know you've lied about sex before in your life. I know it. I can see it in your face.
No, I must say is that before I really became empowered as a person with a disability, you were just in awe when somebody just look your way. So you will, because you just want to be loved. So you will do anything just to get that love, even if you're not satisfied. So I will
love. You want to be loved, or do you also want for people to look at you because you're disabled as a sexual object?
Yes, and so you do a lot of things which you realize later in life, I actually lied to that one, man. I didn't enjoy it. I faked it just to be able to say, I have a boyfriend.
Right.
And and you actually did an injustice to yourself, but I feel that I first needed to go through that journey in order to be where I am now.
Okay.
Sharon Stone, the actress, said, women may be able to fake their orgasms, but men can fake a whole relationship.
And she was right. an entire relationship.
Not. I want to say something on that quickly. I just want to say, you know, as a woman's body, we can fake every time. A man needs to get it up.
We are to realize.
You know what? I'm going to challenge that because I've heard of men who fake it too. But you know, Zolani.
How do you fake it?
Yeah, but you know what? Apparently,
you pretend that you've come, and then you go to the loo to remove your condom. You put it in the toilet paper and you throw it, hopefully, in the dustbin because it shouldn't go down the toilet. And unless they check to see whether something has happened. Not me, but I know people who have. I know people who have. People, for example, who've had something to drink will take often a lot longer to come, for example. People who've had drugs or whatever the case may be. And after a while, it's exhausting, man. We're done now. Thank you very much.
Jacqueline, I will also say get done now.
In general practice, there's many reasons for women faking their orgasms. I'd like us to touch on that.
Please do.
You were saying, Marlene, about that men have to erect. And that pressure on a man to erect is often the cause of his emotional impotence, not his organic impotence. Right? A man's failure to erect is not only due to his chronic conditions, his list of chronic medications, but also due to the quality of his relationship.
Right.
And if it's a bad relationship where he's emasculated within that relationship, he's living with a bitch, right? He cannot...
Doctor, that name!
He cannot get it up. He cannot rise to the occasion.
Sure.
Right? And that's a lot of pressure for men. Men, by and large, have to perform. They have to be macho. They have to be erect.
What we also don't talk about is how devastating it is for women when your man can't get it up for you or won't or whatever.
And
when
he removes himself from the sexual relationship.
Right.
At that point. And he becomes disinterested. The women come to me and say, doctor, die man het 'n afdakkie vir sy tool wat hy nie kan gebruik nie. Right? They are impotent.
A biggie. Ons blame ons as die in Western Cape, man. I get it. This thing, I get it.
Ek gaan hom styf skel.
Yeah, but you know, it's like when that happens in a relationship, it's the most loneliest time for the woman. Because most of the time, society doesn't talk about it. It's easy to say the woman has a headache, because that's all in magazines. The woman has decided after children, they don't want sex anymore. It's an open conversation. It's much more open than to talk about your partner is sexually not interested in you. And so, there are lots of women.
Imagine men. I mean, guys are not going to be hanging around in Brian going, you know what, I couldn't get it up last night. That's not the conversation that you have.
But as women, we speak we speak to our women friends that, listen, I have a problem. You're at least there already. So, but as a woman, you never speak to another woman about your partner has left that sexual relationship.
Well, unless you've got some really close ties with some other people. But can I just go back to something that you were saying? You were speaking about coming from a point of disability, and if somebody even looks at you, and then you kind of give and you lie and whatever. But I mean, I think that happens to so many people, whether however disabled you are.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I like that, however.
God, I remember being like this neglected, with a very low self-esteem kid, like very young teenager, and getting involved with boys somebody who looked at me the right way and was giving me attention and lying to me and all that stuff. And then, going on having sex with these guys and being like, oh, geez, that was so great. Yes. It was so great. It's like, you know what I mean? It's the same stuff.
Yeah. Of course, men don't come to me saying that my erection is failing. They come to me and say, doctor, I'm not strong. And I say to him, but what do you mean by that? And the natural thing is to request a script for an erection enhancing drug. And when he dissected, realized that it's not the ability to erect that's a problem for them. It's the fact that they are a 1-minute noodle, a premature ejaculation. And you were asking in your introduction, what is it that men lie about? Men lie about by saying, making you believe, honey, I'm going to put you first. He's not going to. She's not going to come first. He's going to.
I'll tell you what else women lie about. And it's a very kind lie. I think women can be very kind, you know, because sometimes you've had to lie about feeling his size. Meanwhile, you're like, is it in? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, really, you be just like,
yes.
Okay, is it like, Meanwhile, it's just like, my God, I could have had orange juice.
Exactly.
I could have had orange.
Exactly.
So I'm saying, the point of that is to say, not all lies are all negative, because shouldn't I try to help my man when if he's failing or make something feel better, you know?
Isn't there help though, guiding him properly? Because what
can you do about his size?
It's not the size that counts, it's what you do with it. Isn't that the popular saying? Isn't that the popular saying?
For me, it's not the size that matters. It's how it makes me feel. It's not that size. I just want to say.
Okay. No, you are right. You're right,
Ladies,
Africa.
we men feel incredibly small when we feel that we're not satisfying you in any way whatsoever. And a man with a small penis knows that they've got a small penis. So you don't have to go there and go fake it, because they'll know that you're lying, because you know what? This is not that big. and it's okay. So I think the best way to help is show them what will give you pleasure, given the constrictions that they have.
Now, let's just take a little break. I promise you, you're going to be the first one that we come to. Yeah, okay. But I'd say, like, a lot of those men also have to stop being herbivores. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the first place where you can direct them. It's like, eat this. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sex Talk, where we're talking today, or this evening, about love, lust, and lies. So, I want to know from you guys that, I asked you earlier about have you ever lied, and we had that lovely conversation. I want to know, have you ever been bluntly honest? And, with something that's difficult. So you said, I'm not going to lie anymore. I'm talking about, I'm not going to lie anymore. I want Africa to up his game because I like him and I want to keep him for a couple more weeks, right? So, have you ever been in a situation where you're like, Africa, I would rather you do this, like the guy, this doesn't work for me, so I would like you to do it differently, because without being afraid that somebody is going to think that you're criticizing. I think the thing with that about lies that we haven't talked about yet, is because we think we're saving people's feelings. And so you're trying to keep some kind of a status quo.
I have found that the most important time to be honest is not in the bedroom. Because when they're about to perform and you are now having a conversation about how you can do it better, it's not gonna work. It's gonna, I will run away, basically.
So it's okay.
So rather find a comfortable, it could be on the couch while you're watching a movie or whatever the case may be, and then you're having a reflection on your sexual life. Don't do it every day. Once in a while, have it come up, and then literally say, this is what I like. I really love it when you do this. Always start with the positive.
Right.
You know what? We can work on this, we can work on this, and be open. And this is important. So when you open that door, be open for criticism back.
Yes, absolutely.
And have that person say, well, I don't like it when you do this, I don't like it when you do this, I'd rather do it. But it should never, in my opinion, at least anyway, never happen in the bedroom.
Okay, well, that's a good
I
thing to
agree
look
with
at
him there. And even it's the leading up to that, to the deed as that. It's like the kissing, the fondling. That is so important. So I need to express that. Previously, when I was not empowered as this disabled woman sitting here, you just take it. And the deed was just like so crude at the end, and you felt so unfulfilled. Now you know that, listen, this is what I like as a person. But I agree with Africa. It's a conversation. When you have that relationship, it's the communication that needs to be open and to talked about, but not just in the bedroom. You need to be conscious that, listen, this I really didn't like. Or you have tried something new with me now, but I didn't like it, And if I'm not going to talk about it, then this is going to happen all the time. And then at the end, I just don't want to have sex.
What you're saying, Marlene, is that it's the social intercourse and outer course that women are craving.
Yes.
And I think the objectives, though, of whatever of that moment need to be clear, because I learned something new yesterday, a concept of sexual congress. So you make love, you have sex, and then you have sexual congress somewhere in between there where there'll be no penetration, but there'll be fondling and playing until both parties release. So what are we having now? Because making love is a very different experience to just having good sex.
Yes.
And it could happen with the same person in that relationship. So not every incident has to be a lovemaking or a lovemaking incident, because we all think, oh, you know, he's going to move mountains, she's going to do this. But maybe all you want is a release. That's it.
In my book, I express I grew up in Wellington, so the Klopse is there. And I can so remember so clearly. I was 10 years old and I was running after the Klopse, and this one man come and he put his hand on my breast. And what a wonderful experience, you know, and I write about it.
A strange man.
A strange, in the Klopse, you know, it's like, and I'm not saying it's a Klopse thing, I'm not saying that. Yeah. All that I can remember, this man was in the Klopse, putting his hand on my breast, and it was this profound moment for me at that particular age.
And when the magic isn't there, Khomotso, the reason men will seek a script for whichever magical drug out there, because it failed them. Now, there are a certain group of men who predictably will fail. You can predict it. Your diabetic, hypertensive man who's taking cholesterol agents, who has heart disease, angina, they can and they do fail. Even if they take the world's best erection-enhancing drug, if the arousal, the magic isn't there, it's never going to work.
Right?
Now, if arousal is the catalyst for that drug to work. Now, if you're sitting with a partner, we were talking earlier about lies, women being able to fake their orgasms. If you're sitting with a partner who is perimenopausal or postmenopausal, young women who is on that nasty drug, the progesterone injectable, the 2 or 3 monthly drug, it suppresses their desire.
Oh, really?
Right. So it's not only perimenopausal and menopausal women who suffer from hyposexual desire disorder or the low desire of women. Hypo. It's young women who are subjected to drugs. It can, and it certainly does.
Like antidepressants, for example.
Yeah. Absolutely. So in my practice, I have a list of A's and D's. Why women is not interested in being intimate with a man. It's the A for anxiety, for alcohol, for the affair, the agitation, the relationship, perhaps the abortion she had that she can't forgive herself for. The D for dis-ease, for disharmony, for depression. The D for drugs, like you've mentioned, antidepressants, and then it comes in your contraceptives. And then one of the ladies really entertained me in my practice. She said to me, "Doctor, that list of A's and D's is too exhausting. It's the A for asshole and the D for doers and dickhead."
And dickhead on top of that. But isn't, doctor, the truth? You probably find in your practice that emotions have a lot more to do with sexual dysfunction than all the other factors. Of course, there are physical things that can happen. But for example, women, when we withdraw sex within a relationship, we're generally feeling underappreciated. Yes. So no amount of medication is going to help, because the more you are a supportive partner, the more I want to have sex with you.
What we never explore is like when we're hungry, we eat. Yeah? It's a need that we have. Okay? And we never explore that really, that as a human being, this is a gift that's been given to you to have sex. And we don't talk about it in a pleasurable...
You can't have sex in the kitchen in the office.
The pleasure of that.
But
all the time we talk about it's all this responsibility that comes with sex and all
well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because it comes to the last aspect of it. Does it matter whether we're having sex for love or lust? You know, like people like to have a distinction.
Are you saying, are we in a relationship for parenthood or for partnership?
Yeah, basically, or like procreation, and it's being sanctioned by a particular institution. Does it matter, in those relationships in terms of how we perform, either as men or as women?
I think a testosterone-based gender-related dichotomy is very essential for the perpetuation of life on this planet, making the man almost always macho and ready for sexual opportunity and therefore reproductive opportunity.
Right. That can't be.
Tell me, Africa.
Yes, I mean, if you certainly subscribe to the issue of marriage, if you subscribe to that philosophy, then we're here to procreate. But God damn it, we've also realized how fun sex can be. And I'm sorry, fantastic. I'm here to have a lot of fun. I don't want children. I don't want kids. I just want to have fun while having sex.
In the Bible, it says it's for partnership.
In the
and
Bible,
not for parenting in Genesis.
Okay,
I was
let's say
quite astounded.
I don't, not particularly a Bible reader or subscriber or whatever. I think
Have
maybe
fun.
that's the difficulty that people have in general, is that we can actually just have sex for sex and it's okay, especially for women. I certainly know you're not, there's a point where we feel like you can't show too much in the bedroom. Like that's when we lie, partly. It's like you underplay your experience in a way, because
Really?
lest to be thought that,
that
you are a
you're-
ho, like
But
that
you
kind
must
of
be
a-
in the bedroom like that. You know, it's like your fantasies you need to be able to have in your bedroom with your partner. And this, the other thing is when, at what stage, I'm very curious about sex toys, about porn, about all of that, because in our face is always about porn is dirty. Porn is about that. Is it an enhancement of your sex life? Or when do you bring the sex tool into your bedroom? That is one issue. The other issue I want to say is that there is so many things when you have women's groups in particular, when especially in a certain age, 60 and plus, where they are yearning for sex. They are really yearning for the touch. And then there's not there, because that conversation, people think it's only for younger people that we need to talk about this. And we need to look also at a beautiful age group where they still want to be active. They still want to be involved. And they're sitting
And
with
they
this
still have
particular-
feelings.
And they still have feelings about. Because what it
Geriatric
is, to be a
sex.
human being is to be touched and to be filled and to be loved.
You don't just get switched off.
You don't just get switched
The
off.
journey of love and loving never stops for anyone.
We will be right back. Do not go away. When we come back, we're going to talk about fantasy in this episode of Sex Talk. Welcome back to Sex Talk, where today we're talking about lust, love, and lies. And I want to find out from you, Zolani, in particular. I want to talk about fantasy. I want to talk about what we bring into that world and like what role it can play in our lives. Do you have any particular strong feelings on that?
Speaking of role play, I don't know if it's my theatrical background, but I was thinking when you were saying about keeping the conversation about what you do, what you don't like out of the bedroom. I don't know. I was thinking maybe there's a way using role play, and I know certainly in my intimate relationship with my partner, that has played a huge role in my being able to say to him, this works and this doesn't work, or to say, this is what I really think would work, by taking on another character. You know what I mean? It's like, it's quite fun for me, and it really, for me, I felt like it really freed him as well to be somebody else, to get into another space.
Because then you're not just Zolani. I've got my wig on. You're talking to Delilah. And this is what Delilah wants tonight.
Literally. And then he knows that that's what you want, and you want that in your repertoire somewhere. You know?
I like that.
I would like to.
In his repertoire.
In his repertoire. Like Marlene, just to almost like wrap it up, we talk especially in terms of fantasy, because it can be fantasy works best within a relationship with someone you can trust. Because you really have to step out there and not feel like somebody's going to make you feel like a freak or a fool or a floozy, in many ways.
Because I think that the sexual protective fireplace is a relationship.
Right.
My fantasy is, I want to be exhibiting myself. So I want to be on show, and I want to have it outside, feel the sun on my back. So that's fantasies that I live out, being in the river, being all over, and it just brings that second level to your relationship. And it's also about that you are in touch with yourself and that particular relationship. So I love fantasies, but I also want to say lust is also extremely important in a relationship, is that you need to be able to lust as well. And I think the other thing is this: traditionally, we get so used to that person. If you're 25 years or 30 years with married to that person, or in that particular
5 years, 10 years.
is that
6 months?
when are you going to spice it up, or are you just going to leave it and say we are done? And the trick is where that
is to introduce it gently.
Yeah.
Do not go from missionary position to
Yeah.
by the riverside with
Yeah.
the sun hitting
Yes.
your back. There needs to be something in between that gently grows to the expression of that fantasy, because it can be horrific.
Yes.
It can be, what the hell is this woman wanting from me?
Right, right. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I do have to wrap it up. I hate it. It never, ever happens that we can fit in everything at the same time. So hopefully you'll be able to do it in an hour. Thank you so much, Africa, Marlene, Michael, Zolani. Thank you at home for watching. If you want to engage with us, you can find us on Twitter at Sex Talk SATV. My name is Khomotso Matsunyane. Remember to use a condom every single time. And munch away, boys, munch away. Let's eat.